we'll call the meeting to order. We don't have a quorum. It's 7:04 for the Tuesday, September 5th Joint Green Efforts meeting. We can run through real quick on this. We can't approve any minutes because we don't have a quorum. So we'll skip over that. Public education goal. Sam, I don't know if you have any updates. I know the last time we talked, some of the signs are up, but the high school is really the only question mark with all the especially during the summer, the construction. Any update on that?
Yep. So all the signs are up. We tried to use existing posts as much as possible so that we didn't have to have the town come and install additional posts. Like you said, the high school really doesn't make sense to do it right now because parking is going to be constantly changing for the next year anyway. So that's it. I know I shared some photos. I think someone was going to put some photos in a newsletter. And that, yeah, I mean, finally done. I don't know if that means we can cross it off the agenda or on to the next.
Yeah, I think we'll wait till we have a quorum before we cross it off, and then maybe just get some feedback. I think, I mean, personally, I know you guys tell me, but if we leave it on there and just kind of, I'd rather brush over it, but have it on the agenda and kind of keep it on top of mind, just at least until we get to the winter when it, you know, people are more apt to do it. I know the high school doesn't make sense, but let's see how we're doing with the signs, just as a follow-up, and then, you know, after Christmas, we'll reassess, I guess, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because it's our goal. It's a goal. So the signs are a component of that, and we can see what's being effective and what isn't.
I know Kate said she would do a write-up for the fall newsletter. I'll reach out to her to see if that'll be done. And do we want to? We'll get to it later. That's fine. So if we do a write-up for the fall newsletter, that'll be going out the last week of September, first week of October, I think.
Okay.
Just, I guess one of the, if you're going to leave it on there, the one other thing, Tara Vasquez, who was kind of, you know, the one that helped with the, you know, student designs and everything else. Students had done a study on idling prior to the signs. I think she planned on doing another study since the signs are installed at this point. So that might be another point where we could report something out to you.
Right.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. All right, let's move on. Waste reduction goal, the adopt the road signs. I know, Garrett, you said you had sent out some stuff, and I'll admit that I did not have a chance to go through it. But I don't know if you want to just quickly go through and see what it is that you had, and then we'll maybe resend it out prior to the next meeting with the minutes so it's fresh and we could get a little more discussion at the next meeting.
Yeah, give me one second. So I had pulled at least 5 towns that have an Adopt a Road program. There were a couple that had Adopt a Spots, like parks or something like that. I didn't include them. I'm sure I can find them again pretty easily. So I think, and I'll put this in an email to the commission because we only have a few members here. I think what would be best is to have commission members review what other towns have, and if you need help finding an ordinance or something like that, just let me know, because I do it all the time, or you need a Word document or something like that, we can figure that out. Find out what you like, what you'd like to include, and then that way I've got a framework on which to write an ordinance to propose to the town council. I will say at this point, it's an election year. There's potentially a lot of change upcoming. We probably will not be proposing a new ordinance this year. Next year it would happen. So it'd be after the first of the year that we do that, but it gives us time to work on it. And I think having everyone do some research on their own, find out what they like, what they think would be easy to implement or good to implement in town, makes it a little easier for me to write the ordinance. And that way it's a little less back and forth of, all right, here's what we found. Then, come back a month later, go over some more stuff, go back a month later and kind of draw out the process. But if we do it this way, it might happen a little faster.
Do you think it's so controversial that we couldn't do it before?
Like, no, it's just that, so town council only meets once in November, once in December, because of the holidays, I think. They're not going to do anything in December. They're not going to schedule anything in December. So it would really be October, maybe, if we can get it on for November. I know there's I have something that needs to go to town council, and we know that's not happening this year before the end of the year because they don't schedule anything for December usually anyway, especially with the election. I don't think it's controversial. It's just you're going to have there's a lot of people that aren't running again this year, that there'd probably be a lot of change up anyway. From a quote unquote legal stance, we don't want to present it at the December meeting and then the town council wants some things tweaked or something like that. We carry over to January. Technically, it's a new council and they can't technically vote. We basically have to do the whole presentation all over again. It's the way the statutes are written. We're even doing it with planning and zoning where everything has to be done by December. Otherwise, we're not, if we think it will be done by then, we'll accept it. If not, you got to wait till next year because we also have a lot of change up there.
As long as we don't get into a situation where it's the new council, so we can't do anything, and it's budget season, so we can't do anything.
No.
Summer, so
no. And I think if we take the time to write it now, in fall, early winter, we'll say, so the end of this year, I think having it written, and then we can have it ready for the town council to review, and schedule a public hearing to amend the ordinance.
Cool.
I mean, we're gonna need a meeting or two just to get this straight anyway, since we haven't even read it. And next meeting is October, and that if we think we can hash it out, but I just don't see that happening. So I do think we continue the discussion though and see if we can't get a good framework together. And then even if it's fresh eyes, and maybe there'll be some carryover on this committee, obviously, but there'll be fresh eyes on it with the new committee, and then they can, as soon as it comes around, because this isn't, we're not talking about something that costs money here. Actually, we're looking to have it sponsored. I don't think this is a lot. I think it's just more of the timing, like Garrett said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just time. It's time. I don't think it'll be controversial at all. It's literally just timing.
Got it.
Okay. All right, moving on to composting at Westwoods. Let's see, Kate, Sam, do you have anything on that? Usually Kate was talking to Tara.
Tara's leading that charge again, and she was trying to meet with me this week, but I have to get my head above water with the start of school here before I can do that. So I'll be meeting her next week, and I'd have something to report the next meeting.
But that and the high school and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
The round the clock working you're doing. I get it. All right, perfect. All right, moving on to the next one, which is other tree cutting on private property. This is something Kate had asked to put on the agenda. Garrett, if you want to take us through, 30 seconds to a minute of the gist of it. When I first saw this, I had one thing in mind, and then when we discussed it, it came out a little different. So I don't know.
I don't have anything actually. That was all she had sent me was tree cutting on private property added to she just requested that it be added to the agenda under new business. So this is on Kate. And unfortunately she's not here tonight, so we'll just carry it over till the next meeting.
Okay.
And I know, as a background, I think some of it comes out of the house on Main Street that just clear cut all these 100-year-old trees. Spite cut them, you might say, bizarrely. And so it's just a question of how much can you do on your own land to 100-year-old trees that affect everyone else around you, I think is part of the idea. And other towns do have tree commissions. Seems like that might be where that's coming from.
Okay.
That definitely is on the other side of not controversial, I guess.
100%. 100%.
All right. So, all right, then what else? Maybe we can reach out to Kate and see if she could be at the next meeting. And then if not, at least give us a background of what she's proposing, because that may be where this is stemming from, but the actual proposal that's kind of what I was looking to get out of this discussion of what it is that she's thinking or whatever. So, all right, then let's just hold that on there until the next meeting then. And then we'll reach out to Kate, and then at the next meeting, hopefully we can have a quorum. I'm starting to feel like we're an unwanted committee over here.
I know the feeling, Johnny.
We need new
Uh,
members. Is that on the
yeah.
agenda?
Yeah, it's. I know
Had
that.
been, I think not in a controversial way. We should probably wait till after the election to pit. No.
Yeah, I mean, Stacy, I'll say this: I'm not running again, so that pretty much puts me out. And then the council, the makeup of the council, and come January, kind of, people sort of get to pick their positions and this and that. But I've only gone through it once. Patty has some experience with that, but we don't even know how it's going to shake out. So I don't mind having the discussion. I've got my feelings on it, but my feelings aren't going to matter very much in a few months. So,
But if somebody wanted to be on, are you saying we couldn't even put somebody's name forward?
No,
until...
no. I'm saying there's
That's not
potential
what
for
I'm
more
saying.
vacancies in the next
Correct.
in the new year.
And they have to get appointed at a council meeting too. So I know even us, I was part of we got someone appointed, and then Garrett and I went back and forth for 2 months to get that person to come in and just basically was, go through the process. We couldn't even get them to do that.
Yeah.
And that kind of fell by the
I'm a
wayside.
great
So
candidate.
I get
Yeah,
it.
I've tried contacting them. They don't respond. We do have one vacancy. I mean, if you have someone that is interested, have them contact. I don't remember if it's the party chair
Yeah.
or the
you want to
membership, someone. But if you have someone interested, have them contact us. We can get them in touch with the right people.
Yeah, either the registrars or the head of the parties, and they'll get them to their, respective people that do the appointments and interviews and all that stuff. So, and then it just needs to come as part of a formal request at the council. It's pretty straightforward. It's not very hard, but I know we reached out and haven't really had much success getting people that are on it, and it's been like that. And so
I'd still like to discuss having a voting seat for a high school junior student.
Patty, does Board of Ed have that in Farmington?
On the Board of Ed itself?
Yeah, not necessarily. Okay, I
No,
think
they had student members of, I know, the mascot ad hoc committee,
okay.
and I think there were liaisons for some of the building committee. Johnny, is that like was there a student liaison? Student
I
leadership?
mean, very, very early on, we had some student feedback when we were going through the planning process, but I don't recall any formal positions ever being given for a high school student.
No, I'm just curious. I know, I think Berlin has student representatives on the Board of Ed, so I can take a look at their what their charter says. See if we just need to amend the guidelines or something like that. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end too, if I don't know if you know any high schoolers that have been interested, because I know we had some presentations earlier on in the year, but I haven't seen much. I know, and I get in the summer and the sport's always going to be tough, but if there's someone that in the high school of some kind of club or
I'm going to reach out to the professor who does both AP environmental studies and is the head of the environmental club, and see if because it's the start of the year, I just feel like there's such a great natural, like, they have all the time. They're desperate to look good on their college applications. They need volunteer opportunities. We have a million ideas and no freaking time. So
no, I get it. And for cleanup day alone, if you could get, tap into a resource, their friends and things like that, it would be awesome. I'll be honest, I don't have a ton about it. My daughter just started sophomore year. She's talking to me about heading up philosophy club, and that's the first I'm hearing about any club. Because in high school, I wasn't part of any club, so this is all different language to me. But yeah, I agree with you. If we could look into that, just to try to see whether, and I don't know if I'd want to go with a specific person because they could come and go. Maybe it's a position for the head of the environmental club, or or one, something we write it where, and then to see if, we have a position, for either the president or someone that's part of it in the hierarchy of it. And
Yeah.
then,
You
and
can't
then
be ahead of it because it's always a senior and those kids are checked out by cleanup day.
Yeah,
right,
but
but if they can
but-
appoint a treasurer or someone else, like if there's a
Yeah.
president, a vice president, treasurer, it could be one of anybody that's, got a leadership position in a club.
Yep.
Where maybe it's an incoming person that, then hands it off to another person when they become a senior and they kind of check out.
Yep.
So if it's like that, and then obviously we just have to look into the voting legalities of it and how that works. But even if they're a liaison and they're there, at least when I've been here, we haven't seen too much, 5-4 votes coming down the pike. So I'm not sure the voting part of it is the end all, but it may,
oh, come on, I'm sure we'll find something Sunday, right?
maybe. So,
Yeah, I'll get on that and report back at the next meeting.
okay.
Great.
Thanks, Stacey. All right, if there's anything else anybody wants to bring up before we adjourn this meeting? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn? I guess we can't even do that. It's not an official meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we can't vote.
I'll take
All
it.
right, then everybody have a good night, and we'll see you guys at the next meeting.